Do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the program today. We got a lot to cover with you. There's, I'll quote Ryan Petty, they just never stop, ladies and gentlemen. They never stop. But we're going to bring Lee, the gun writer Williams, in. Lee, you've got Tate Adamiak updates. Going to talk to you about James Harden. Washington Post has got a BS story out. The anti-gunners are going nuts because of Trump's rollback. So, guys, if you don't think you're living through the most pro-gun administration in American history, wait till you hear what the anti-gunners are saying about it. I mean, that's all the proof you need, and we'll talk about all of that and whatever else we can get in with Lee, the gun writer Williams. Lee, welcome in. You're looking good, brother. CN High Definition on the streams.
Thank you.
Great to have you here.
Thank you.
So we got
Great to be here.
Do we have a rogue prosecutor going on over at Tate Adamiak now? There's been some changes there. Bring us to speed. This is a fascinating story as you continue to unfold this.
Well, Brian Samuels was the criminal chief. That's a pretty senior position in the Justice Department. He worked in the Eastern District of Virginia for nearly 2 decades. He was doing major cases. He was responsible for management. Then there was some brouhaha. His boss was the U.S. attorney, resigned on her own. We're not exactly sure why he was demoted, but he was demoted to an AUSA, an assistant U.S. attorney. That's the same role you get when you graduate from law school and go to work for the U.S. Attorney's Office. So he was returned to that rank and was now given the case against Patrick Tate Adamiak. And then last week he released a paper for the case, Position in the United States with respect to sentencing factors. And, brother, he called everybody out. He mentioned me by name. He just rambled on and on about how the media has been impacting the case. Of course, he never mentions Joe Biden. Joe Biden was mentioned once in the 21-page document, but that was by Tate Adamiak's dad, Dave Adamiak. Mm-hmm. I mean, this guy, he ridicules everyone who's ever written a story. It was awful, saying how we're screwing up his works. Of course, he never mentions any of the press releases, the 3 press releases the Justice Department kicked out, which were false and contained fictional information, definitely less than truthful. I mean, you go back to the one that was written in a couple years ago. They say Tate Adamiak had machine guns and how they found all these machine guns there. They never found one. Instead, Biden's out for blood. ATF alleged that his legal gun parts were machine guns, as were legal semi-automatic pistols and even an actual toy gun. And then they went off on the RPGs, which they refer to as anti-tank missile launchers, which Tate had purchased in California.
I want one of those.
Yeah,
I want one. I want a real one. Well, let me. If I'm questioning this right now, I'm sure listeners are as well. So I want to be their voice also, which is our goal. But I'm a little confused. So fix me. Is this a bad guy? This demoted prosecutor, is it? And if he is it bad for Tate? Is it good for his case because he's bad, he's lowly, and he sucks? Is he calling people out because he's bad? Is it because he's doing everything he can to keep Tate in jail? Is he unaware of the things that you've been doing and unfolding? Is he unaware of what the 6 or 7 congressmen are saying? Is he unaware of what Cicada has said? Try to put this in perspective for me. That's a lot of questions, but I mean, I'm not really sure what I'm hearing about this guy, not from you, but from him that you're telling us. Well, what does all this mean?
Here's his goal, Mark. And I'm quoting him, for the foregoing reasons and others to be provided during the resentencing hearing, the United States respectfully requests the court impose a sentence of 240 months of incarceration. So he doesn't want to give Tate a day, not even a day off.
Is he aware of the work that's been done behind the scenes by the people who are acting as his bosses, including Todd Blanche, the Attorney General?
No. And if he is, he doesn't care.
Okay.
He wants Tate to do his 20-year prison sentence.
All right.
It's absolutely crazy. I mean, even the head of the ATF, even Cicada, Rob Cicada said, hey, he was sentenced for too long. That's nowhere in any of this guy's paperwork.
He's done far more time than he should have done in the first place, which should have been 0. This sends the message to me, and again, correct me if, again, from what I'm hearing, not from you, from him. This looks like an overzealous guy, angry that he's been demoted, trying to make a name for himself in an organization that he apparently is very out of step with, based on everything that we know that the administration is doing just right now, shy of a pardon. And I find there to be a big disconnect as to why he would be doing this. He clearly is completely unaware, or he's ignorant, or somehow he thinks he's making, and I'm going to go here, maybe I'm wrong with this, but been around a long time. Is he trying to impress a bunch of Democrats he think might be able to give him a job down the road as a result of this, in the face of the administration, who apparently is working now to try to at least bring awareness to this man's case and how wrong he was? None of this makes sense to me. This whole case is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Evidently, at whatever level this ongoing stuff behind closed doors is taking place, doesn't include this new AUSA. I mean,
well, a lot of faith in him, right?
I'm thrilled. Yeah, I have zero faith in this guy. He's an idiot.
Okay, but who put him on it?
Demoted. That depends. I mean, that's up to the U.S. attorney. But let me tell you, Tate has been serving 20 years in prison for legal gun parts. He was falsely arrested, charged, and convicted by the ATF and the DOJ. It's time to admit that mistakes were made and let his butt out of prison before anything else happens. That would be real justice. This case has not seen real justice since it started, Mark.
Well, we're very well aware of that. This whole thing is just nuts to me. It's very hard to wrap my head around this. I'm also kind of maybe giving up on trying. So I'm just going to ask these questions. If this you said he's been left out of the room. It apparently seems like he has been, or he's trying to impress other people outside this administration, maybe for a future job. I don't know. But I wouldn't want to be the prosecutor going into this knowing that my boss, ultimate boss at the AG, has told people like me and you and others that they're very well aware of how bad this case is. I wouldn't want to be in his position under that. I wouldn't want to be in his position knowing that the White House has been notified and that Trump is aware of it, that pardon opportunities are being floated. I wouldn't want his job knowing that the director of the ATF has spoken publicly about this and also admitted how wronged he was. Now, I'm going to take us to the break with this. I wouldn't want to be this guy right now. And I would wonder, and I hope we see some schadenfreude here, that he gets his little, I got to be really careful here. I can't call him what I want to call him. Let's just say I hope he has to step back and see who he's prosecuting get pardoned and freed before this goes any further, or at least after this June 25th hearing. Lee, I'll get your take on all that when we come back. Then I want to go to James Harden, a Washington Post story. But a lot going on today, ladies and gentlemen. It just never stops, which is a good thing if you host Armed American Radio. But boy, I'll tell you what, it would be nice to report one day that gun control is non-existent and I have to find something else to do. Unfortunately, that's never going to occur. We'll be right back. It's a beautiful combination. Lee, the Gunwriter Williams, welcome back, my friend. So, Lee, Greg and I were talking during the break. I'm having a really tough time connecting dots. And one of the questions that came up while we were speaking, it just at random, I said, who put this guy in the position? Because everybody higher above him is aware of Tate having been so wronged, wrongly accused, and wrongly convicted, and wrongly sentenced. Everybody above. Now, you mentioned the U.S. attorney. Is that an inept U.S. attorney?
I disagree that everybody involved is aware of Tate. I don't think it's reached all 50 states. I don't think that the U.S. attorney in that District of Virginia is aware and would have done anything for Tate. Probably never heard of Tate. Probably is a little embarrassed that they're the ones that actually charged him if he is aware. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what their process is to assign cases, but this guy should not be the guy prosecuting Tate.
I don't know. Maybe this works to his advantage. Let's tackle it from that angle. But here's where I'll disagree with your disagreement. Not you, but that theory that you just presented. Here's why. When I say the higher-ups, I'm talking about Cicada, I'm talking about Todd Blanche, I'm talking about the U.S. Attorney General, and I'm talking about the director of the ATF. These individuals are well aware of what's happening. The White House is aware of what's happening. Congress people are well aware of what's happening. So that tells me that the U.S. Attorney, who is not aware of the higher-ups that are aware, might be a little bit inept and absolutely should know these things before assigning an attorney to this case. Might want to go back and look a little bit harder at what he or she is doing. So let me throw this angle at you. Could this work to his advantage when you've got an overzealous prosecutor, recently demoted, coming at this all gung-ho, maybe trying to impress somebody outside the administration for future work? Is that going to work to his advantage? Are the higher-ups going to go, what is this guy doing? This could work to his advantage, brother. I'm trying to cover both angles and I want to be overly optimistic here because I do think he's going to get out. But nonetheless, again, connecting the dots here is very tough to do. There's no logic involved here.
It is. And I think this hearing on the 25th is going to be brutal. I doubt they'll let Tate's experts testify like they did during his original trial. They had a million reasons why his expert, who's former ATF, could not come in and testify. I'm sure they cut him off at the sheets. I think it's going to be terrible. It's going to be a horrible hearing, and they're going to win, and they're going to be smiling. But
okay, all right, now, hold on.
I hope none of this matters. Because I hope Tate gets out of there before the hearing.
Here's why I say that could work as I listen to your response. I expected to hear that from you. And again, I'm going to go a step further. This is why I think it might work to his advantage, because those higher-ups are aware of it. If that prosecutor or they do not allow this information in, when other people above him are aware that it should be let in, might very well quicken the pardon process here.
Well, the one thing is, I hope the pardon happens yesterday. I hope he gets his butt out. But two, if that is a fair hearing, he would go to that hearing. If he's freed today, he would be there on the 25th. Because it's his one opportunity, if it's a fair hearing, to actually get the facts out. Hey, none of the guns that he had were even guns. They were gun parts. There's nothing, they found nothing illegal. That would be his opportunity to set the record straight if he's allowed to actually present testimony.
All right.
I'd love to see him do it as a free man.
Me too. And the principal, Tate's a principled guy, and I know his dad is too. And Dave, if you're listening, and you likely are, if you're not listening live, I know you'll probably hear this later. Let me just throw something at you. Get your son out first. The rest of it be damned. He does not have to prove anything to anybody, Dave. Just get him out. He doesn't have to show up at that hearing. We all know he's been wronged. He has nothing to prove. Get him out. Get him home with his family where he belongs. We can worry about the rest of it later. And then once he's cleared, I can't wait to bring him and his father on this program. I can't wait, along with you. And we'll do that for a lengthy time on a 3-hour broadcast because this is utter, upside-down nonsense. Now, let's flip over to more nonsense. Let me go to James Harden. Wow.
Terrible.
You know, yesterday I commented that the Gun Owners of America and NAGR got out front of this with their press releases and well, maybe not press releases. I think GOA. I was reading off an X post. But they made it very clear that Harden was being railroaded. NAGR came out and said the same thing. Under no circumstances should he have been arrested. And I made the comment publicly. I was surprised that the CCRKBA and SAF, of which I'm a board member of the committee, as you know, many long-year running board member, hadn't put a press release out. Here's what I can report to you today, ladies and gentlemen. The press release from the committee is likely out right now or will be out during the airing of this broadcast. I approved my quote in it, which I put over there yesterday. Late yesterday after the broadcast, and I just saw it today. It was sent over for my approval to make sure that my quote was accurate. It was 100% accurate.
It came out.
Okay, so it did come out.
It just came out.
All right, well, we'll go and read that. We'll read that when we come back from this break. We won't have time to do it, but Lee's up on top of this because he gets all the work from SAF, and while we're on air, I was unable to see the email, so it did just come out while we're live. We'll go to that when we come back and talk about Harden. This is one of the again, talk about trying to connect the dots and wrap your head around something. Oh, good heavens. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about that, because this should absolutely not have happened in, of all places, Texas, to quote AWR's Kentucky accent. This should never have happened in Texas. The people who were being dumb in Texas are Texans who enforce Texas law. Because we go back to AWR's fun statement on the show, if you're going to be dumb, don't be dumb in Texas. It was law enforcement this time, and we're going to pick it apart when we come back. Don't go away. Okay,
Thank
so,
you.
all right. These are stories, Lee, that frustrate me to a point that I have to literally tell myself after 18 years, watch what you say. You have to be very, very careful here. And I do want to get into the weeds, your former law enforcement. And it's very, very important that we understand when it comes to Harden issue, or at least try to understand why something like this can happen, Lee. You're familiar with the story. At least try to take it away. Go ahead.
James Harden, Cleveland Cavalier, driving down the road in Texas. He'd been out at a hookah pipe place. I haven't ever been to a hookah pipe place. I don't know what that is, but I know they don't serve liquor. Gets pulled over. Cop sees a gun in the vehicle. Sees a gun in the vehicle and arrests him because it's not holstered. In
Texas.
I mean, it's in Texas. We're not talking New Jersey. We're not talking California. We're not talking any of the usual states. But in Texas, the gun's not stolen. He's got no warrants, no arrest history, and actually arrested. And here's the thing that I don't get, having been in law enforcement. It's a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
It's a misdemeanor because it wasn't in a holster. Something which is a state law we don't have here in Florida, thank God. You could have 30 guns laying in your car in Florida, and it would have been fine. Actually arrests him and brings him in, and I don't see the public good to this, Mark. I really don't. There's no public good here. There was no crime being committed. Tell them to get a holster or stick it in your pants or whatever.
Let's go here.
I just don't. There's no public good by this type of law enforcement, other than the officer probably said, "Hey, yeah, I arrested a Cleveland Cavalier, James Harden, who used to." I just can't get it. I don't see bizarre. What was done and why it was done.
All right, up on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, X, or Rumble, I put one of the screen grabs of guys. I want you to go watch the short video today. It's 44 seconds long. It's on YouTube at Armed American Radio, where I had some fun with this. It's a clip of Andy and I talking about it, and I put some funny graphics up. And yesterday I said, here's my take on this. Give me a break. Give me a break. Now, what's funny about the graphic that I just put up on the screen, I'll play theater of the mind for you. For those of you that can't see it, I'll play the visual. I'll give you the visual. It's a 9:16, typical YouTube short thumbnail, all right, that has James Harden sitting behind the wheel of a Lamborghini and a Harris County Sheriff's deputy with a very puzzled, stupid, dunce look on his face, intentionally, because that was the visual I gave the prompt to create the thumbnail. And I asked it to put me behind the car with my arms up in the air screaming, "Give me a break, give me a break." And the funny part about it was it detected Mark, I think, Cox, and put Mark Cox's face up in my place. So I left it up just for Mark Cox from 97.1 FM. Because, well, we're both Marks, and I've got an armed, or whoever that is, has an Armed American Radio shirt on. And the give me a break is legit. That's a gut feeling that I had, Lee, right out of the box. Now, there's a couple things in play here. The more I think about this, I'm going to go here. I have a feeling James Harden is guilty of one thing and one thing only, driving while black at 3:45 in the morning in downtown Houston. Because as far as I can tell, as far as I can see everything I've researched on this, the traffic infraction he was supposedly pulled over for was never given. The only charge he has is the gun charge. Now, the cop said in his report he did willfully, knowingly, and intentionally carry his gun in this manner. Well, hell yeah, he did. He took the gun he knew he had. He knew he had a gun. He knew he was driving at 3:45 in the morning, and he intentionally put it on his seat because he can do that. What he didn't know, because he's an Ohio resident, and I bet most of you that live in Texas didn't know this until now either, he didn't put it in a holster. Now, Lee, the comments came up today when I was on 97.1 FM talking about this on the Mark Cox in the Morning Show with Ryan Recker and Kim St. Ange. It came up on my show yesterday, and it's going to come up now. Ryan asked the question, there's got to be something else going on here. Did he get into an argument with the cop? Was it a driving while black thing? Did he cop an attitude because he got pulled over and didn't do anything wrong and he knew the violation was garbage? Was this a rogue cop looking and fishing to try to get somebody in trouble in downtown Houston? Then all of a sudden went, ruh-roh, this is James Harden from the Cavaliers. I'm not going to give it, but he's giving me a hard time, so he tries to pin him on this gun charge, which unfortunately appears to be a legitimate charge in Texas that, guys, is not going to fly. I guarantee you this does not fly. But is that what we're looking at here, Lee? It has all the underpinnings of this, as sad as that is to say. I hope to God I'm wrong.
Well, I think the problem goes up the chain of command. First of all, you got a young officer, probably not black, sees a Lamborghini drive by at 3:45 in the morning, stops it for no reason, probably searches it, probably stopped it because the light's out in his glove box, okay? Makes up a reason to stop.
Well, you've just defined a rogue cop. You've just defined a rogue cop.
Yeah.
Sorry, you did.
But that should have stopped going up the chain of command, because every rogue cop has to be supervised by a sergeant and a lieutenant, and a captain goes up the chain. At some point, somebody needs to say, hey, what public good was done by this arrest? Mr. Harden, we're sorry. Here's your gun back. Please go and we'll get your car off the road where it was towed from. This should never have happened. What public good was made by this arrest? None.
Yeah,
none.
I have a feeling this is going to backfire in a huge, huge way.
I hope it does, because having been in law enforcement, that's the only way to fix these kind of problems.
I just put up on the screen, I'll take us to the break with this as we get ready to go to our final break and into our final segment. Officer discretion, ladies and gentlemen. And this is how I ended 100%. The short, okay? This is how I ended the short video. Please go watch it. It's up at YouTube. It's 44 seconds of your life, all right? Give it a listen. Officer discretion refers to the authority granted to law enforcement officers to make judgments and decisions in situations where the law does not prescribe a specific course of action. It allows officers to consider the circumstances, facts, and context of each individual case to determine the appropriate response. This cop had officer discretion and chose not to use it. We'll be right back. That just really angers me. Let me say this, Lee, about I did want to mention the press release that's out. Let me check my email here real quick. Okay, here it is from Alan Gottlieb, and let's read this press release right now. I did approve it earlier, so I saw it. I knew it was going to come out live when we were on the show. By the way, tomorrow, heads up, guys, Dave Workman will be here tomorrow for the first time in quite some time, and we'll be talking about this as well. He's writing about this in the Gun Mag. Here's my quote. Here's a quote from Andrew Gottlieb, the CCRKBA executive director, regarding Harden. Harden had a gun in Texas, which is a constitutional carry state where no carry license is required. Open carry is legal, and it was not in a holster. It was in his vehicle, allegedly in plain view, even though it probably wasn't visible to any other motorist, but only to a police officer who approached the vehicle after it was stopped. We could argue all day long about the holster issue, but this seems like government trying to micromanage how someone travels from point A to point B with a legally owned firearm in a state where gun ownership is as common as cowboy boots and sirloin steaks. Andrew nailed that. Now, from me, if I asked you under what circumstances a man who owns his gun lawfully in a state that recognizes constitutional carry and doesn't require a permit, where open carry is lawful, and who isn't a prohibited person would possibly be facing charges for unlawfully carrying a gun, you'd probably look at me cross-eyed and ask me if I was kidding. Harden is facing 364 days in jail and a fine of thousands of dollars. Why? Because that lawfully owned and carried gun that wasn't in a holster. This is the nonsense you expect in any state behind the blue wall, but we're talking about Texas, ladies and gentlemen. Something's broken, and this story is proof we can never let our guard down, no matter what color state we live in. And Andrew tapped us out on that with, we understand Harden is scheduled to be back in court on June 22nd. Barring any unreported extenuating circumstances, a proper course of action might be to gently slap his wrist, encourage him to buy a holster, and send Harden on his way. Now, I've got to give a shout out because our fans and our listeners and viewers are on their feet. Texas Huntsman, I'm going to shout you out on 2 comments that you put up, and I'm going to read them, and I thank you. I had the opportunity, honor, and privilege to meet you at the NRA convention in Houston just a couple months back. And boy, Lee, does this open up a conversation. He says, Harris County, there's the key. Blue-ish cops, blue police chief, blue mayor, blue city council, blue prosecutor. Now, there's more to what Texas Huntsman said as well. Let me go to that one real quick. And that is, and what is sad is that law was passed in 2023, if I'm not mistaken. I am wondering if it was a compromise throw-in to get constitutional carry passed. Ha ha! Lee, Texas Huntsman, you're thinking on your feet, baby. I love that. That's the way Armed American Radio listeners think and feel. And I got to hand it to you on that one. I'd have to look at the timing, but it fits, Lee. Why should we even need a compromise in Texas to begin with? But this could very well have been it. That's such a great point, brother Texas Huntsman. Thank you for mentioning that. Wow, just crazy, crazy, crazy stuff, Lee. I'll let you take it away.
Never should have happened. The fact that he was arrested and pulled out of his vehicle, the vehicle is probably towed. This is going to cost him thousands of dollars. It's nuts. Here's my bottom line. This is not law enforcement, except in that blue city.
You were a cop. And,
yeah,
you know, I don't look, I support law enforcement 100,000 gazillion %. You know that. But, man, it takes one rogue officer to make the entire force look really, really bad.
Again, it's more than one officer. It's one rogue officer.
Bingo.
Sergeant, one rogue lieutenant, one rogue watch commander.
Chief.
Which never should have happened.
Greg
this guy
just
should have
said
been let go.
It starts at the top, doesn't it? And I'm going to guess.
Yeah, it's a blue department.
Do you think a prosecutor is going to look at this, take this to a grand jury? Do you think it's just, how do you think this plays out? I have my druthers on this. I don't think it goes out.
It's a misdemeanor. It's not going to go to a grand jury.
Oh, that's right. It's a misdemeanor. Yeah,
but
well,
still.
Yeah, but there's discretion. This could be dropped today.
Yeah. If I was a prosecutor, I would have dropped this hours ago. The minute I saw this case, charges dismissed. Make sure he's got all his property back, including the gun. You've
now got the support, and I know Harris County's thinking about this. You've now got, and Texas legislators, if any of you are listening, and I know many of you do, fix this problem. Texas Huntsman, I think you may be right about that. That very astute comment, and I really do appreciate your point. That didn't even cross my mind. I wasn't thinking about that, but the timing of this does seem to fit. I'll look into that. That's an interesting take on this. But legislators, fix this problem. If that was what was done, go back and fix it. Because what's happening now, the backlash is happening, and it's not just happening from talking heads like me or you, Lee, and writing heads like you. It's now happening from the Second Amendment Foundation, the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, the NRA, the GOA, NAGR, and others are all over this. Eyes are on you guys. All of them. Fix the problem. Lee, where can people find you?
You go to armedamericannews.org. They can go to the gunwriter at substack.com, but we hope they go to saf.org. SAF is in Second Amendment Foundation.
We love you, Lee. Thank you for being here, brother. We appreciate everything you do. I'll reach out to you after the show. Guys, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. I'll see you on the radio tomorrow.